Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We have just gotten back from a ride on our RAD power bikes.
And it brought up an interesting thing. We've had several people ask us various questions about the bikes, and we want to address those today.
Yeah, a lot of times when we're out riding, we get stopped, and we love that because we really do love these bikes.
Yes.
And so...
RAD doesn't pay us to say that.
No, we do. If you let them know that twotiredteachers@yahoo.com referred you, that some of our videos or our discussions with you have helped you make a decision to buy a RAD, we get an Amazon gift card like anybody else would. But if we didn't love the RAD bikes, we wouldn't be making the videos.
Well, we might be making the videos, but saying things like...
Very different.
Yes.
Very different things. But the first thing we want to address, and it's kind of timely, and that is...
Are they safe?
And my answer is, I feel perfectly safe riding my RAD power bike.
My answer, having fallen 3 times, is yes, they are safe. I needed to get comfortable with it, but the bikes themselves are safe.
And we made an entire video about getting comfortable. That's going to be the thing that's going to help you be the safest on your bike, is to be comfortable on your bike and take it easy and all of those things.
And we're planning on coming out with a safety video.
An e-bike safety video. Just some things that we have kind of picked up as we've been riding.
And some things everyone should know. These things will go 20 miles an hour. You need to wear a helmet.
And that was the second question we were going to address.
Is
how fast will they go? That's a question we get asked quite often. And there are a couple of answers to that. As MiLena said, 20 miles an hour.
And that is the max that the pedal assist will help you is 20.
Or the throttle. Now that we've ridden them, and that's another thing about safety I want us to mention, is I would say 90% of our riding has either been Texas state parks, at this point, state parks, Corps of Engineer parks, and soon to be national parks, or residential roads.
Yes.
So the speed limits that we're riding on are 10, 15, 20, 25, sometimes 30. When we get out on a road with a little bit higher, we're riding on roads that have a bike lane, essentially, or a shoulder that is there for that. But we have been on some roads where we're going downhill.
Yes.
And our speedometer has gone above, I think 25 point something, 26 maybe.
Maybe 7.
But we at this point have over 1,100 miles each on our bikes. And so that wasn't something we experienced early on at all.
Daily thing.
No, and that's not something we strive for. It's just something we...
But it is fun.
And batteries. We've gotten several questions about batteries. Once again, we probably will be making a video just about the batteries. But one question is, after 1,000 miles, is that still the original battery? Yes. And I really haven't noticed that the charge is off at all.
No. And we get the question, how far can you go on a charge?
And
or how long does it take to charge it?
And back when we first got these, I think it was around the 200-mile mark or something, I was curious, how far can I go on one charge? This was all in relatively flat areas. I was using pedal assist 1, occasionally pedal assist 2, but I did have it in pedal assist the entire time. And I went 47 miles on one charge. The battery has 5 ticks, essentially like your gas gauge. It was on the next to the last one and would jump down to the bottom one and back up. So I probably could have gone another 10 miles or so. But the batteries are great. The owner's manual gives you a charging time, basically. At that point where I'd ridden 47 miles, I think it took me about 7 hours to get it, 7 or 8 hours to get it charged back up.
But that only makes sense. Usually we ride between 20 and 25 miles
between
charges, and it takes about 3 or 4 hours to charge it. The batteries have no memory, and that's an important thing to know.
Because we do charge, matter of fact, RAD recommends after every ride to charge it. That's just their standard is you can charge it and it's not going, it doesn't have any memory, and so we are very, very pleased with the batteries and have had no problems with that. Another one is, have you had issues?
We've had maintenance things.
We each have had a flat on our front tire, and then one of the brake cables, once we hit 1,000 miles thereabout, I mean, it's a gradual thing, but it had gotten to where it was squeezing close. It was squeezing, whenever I would push the brake, it was getting closer to the handlebar. And so I just adjusted that, but
And that was on both bikes.
that was a maintenance thing, and that was a front brake, I think,
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
had that situation. But we've cleaned the chains, oiled the chains a couple of times, not as often as we probably should have. Another one, where do you get them?
Okay, they have several showrooms throughout the U.S. I know there's one in Austin. There is one in Seattle, from the place from which you order the bikes. We were a bit concerned about spending as much as they cost and ordering a bike online.
What we did though is look at reviews, and that's what you can find bikes that are cheaper, and that's going to be another question, is how much do they cost. But you can find bikes that are cheaper, bikes that are more expensive. Look at the reviews, read the reviews, and look at who's making those reviews. We've seen reviews of these bikes with somebody who got it out of the box, who hadn't even tried them yet, and had some less than positive things to say because they just didn't know.
And he wondered what the little thing hanging down was. It's a stand for when it's folded, but hey, he was going to take a saw and cut it off.
But anyway, we are making this video after we have 1,100 miles each. Anyway, we've ridden them a lot, and so no, we're not saying we are experts by any stretch of the imagination. No. We're just sharing what we know. So the cost.
The bikes cost,
the bikes we have,
$14.99.
And if you buy 2 bikes, you get $200 off. We've made an entire video about discounts that there's going to be a link to in this video. But they have come out with another bike. They have a couple of bikes that are a little bit cheaper. And you can go to their website where we got our bikes, and at radpowerbikes.com, and you can see the prices for the various bikes, but the ballpark for theirs is $14.99.
Yes, and not all of them have the fat tires. These do because they need something compact, and these are smaller tires.
But kind of going along with how much do they cost, one of the things that causes that varies the price is these are 7-speed bikes. And this was a question I had before I ordered. Is it worth the difference to get a 7-speed bike when you're buying a bike that has 5 levels of pedal assist and a throttle? And I honestly went back and forth, and the real reason I went with this was because it's a little bit smaller footprint when it's unfolded, and because we're traveling with them, we wanted something we knew was going to take up. There was going to be a solid quality bike, but it was going to take up as little room as possible in the van. Having ridden now, I'm glad I have the choice of gears. In general, the vast majority of the time I ride with it in 3rd or 4th. I have gone down to 2nd. I may have gone down to 1st once. But I have gone up to 5th and 6th. Those are really nice. Once I've gone up to 7th. And so being able to ride it as a 7-speed bike in combination with the 5 levels of pedal assist, and that's one of those things about, and throttle, getting comfortable is you get more comfortable with, okay, I'm going up this really steep hill. This is the combination that's going to work best for me. I'm going to up my pedal assist. I'm going to lower my speed, my gear, you get used to that. Because we bought these to ride in a variety of terrains, that's what's working great for us. If you're buying a bike as a city commuter, you could probably get by with one, the single speed. And so that was, like I said, that's not one that we've been asked, but I know that was something that I had a lot of questions
People
about.
are kind of hesitant sometimes to ask about the cost because
Okay, and then another big one, and this was a concern for us, is how much do they weigh?
they weigh 69 pounds with the batteries.
Yeah.
With the batteries.
And so
And they will not roll up a ramp when they're folded.
right, we have a ramp, and mine in our van, mine rides unfolded, and we fold MiLena's and put it in. But what helps a lot is that battery weighs ballpark of 10 pounds, and so for hers, we'll take the battery out.
Yes.
And you know, that helps, and there are the two of us to lift it in.
Yes.
But we do know, and we've gotten some comments from people saying,
I can't lift a a bike that heavy.
yeah, the bike, that's a concern.
Is it cheating? That's an excellent question. And let me answer it, since I'm much more likely to be a couch potato than Sharon. Folks, I always pedal. I use pedal assist 1 and 2 mostly. Is it cheating? It's got me out riding a bike around 10 miles a day. I wasn't doing that without this bike.
Well, let me just show you. We are staying at on Proctor Lake. It's out of Comanche, Texas. We just took a little short trip close to home, and it is a gorgeous park. But we wanted to go explore this morning, and so we knew there was a day use area because we could see it across the lake here, and so we rode over to, I don't know if you can tell, but let me get my finger here, right there, there's a dam, and so we rode over and through all of that day use area and over to the dam. Well, I can guarantee you, odds are we probably wouldn't have seen that area.
No.
I don't know that we would have driven over there, but we were out on our bikes just wanting to go explore, and so it's let us go places that we wouldn't go otherwise.
No.
I'm thinking of Caddo Lake. We're getting off the subject here, but we have a video about Caddo Lake, and in that video we show you the National Wildlife Preserve that we got to go and ride 11 miles in this National Wildlife Preserve. We were basically the only people that weren't working there, and it was awesome. And so you can turn off pedal assist and throttle and just ride a 7-speed bike when you want to do that.
I've done that once by mistake. I don't want to do that.
But you've got a lot of options with it. So, okay, we've made a video about what is an e-bike, and we do get that question some, and so rather than addressing that here, we'll put a link to that video as well.
Why RAD?
And the answer to that is the reviews.
And
We met some subscribers who had RADs, and
they stopped us
we had been swimming in a lake
and looked our best.
and they were riding there across, you know, the beach area and stuff. They had the fat tires, and they just wanted to stop and visit with us, which was great and fine. We don't mind that. And I was curious about their bikes because I'd been doing some research and trying to look into the bikes, and they had gotten them, they loved them, they had nothing but positive things to say. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, she and her husband also RV, and they had just gotten RAD, and they loved the RADs, and we're talking about what quality they were and how much they enjoy them. And actually the reason they had gone with RAD is because her son had just moved to Seattle, and they had their showroom there. I think they could rent them, and that was kind of where they got turned on to RAD. And so they'd helped him move up there, and that was kind of their break, was to go ride electric bikes. And so we have been
And if you're in the Seattle area, of course, do that if you can. If you're not in the Seattle area, I don't know that I would have been comfortable on an e-bike had we not rented Pedagos in Indiana.
But once again, any e-bike, I want to just say it this way. If you've ever rented a car, well, it's a car and it drives sort of like your car, but it takes some getting used to.
Yes.
Things are in a, it's going to be a different feel. Well, the same thing, any e-bike, getting some experience on an e-bike and saying, wow, this is fun, I love it, this is great, is wonderful, but realize you need to get comfortable with yours. The last couple of things that we have here, I guess really the last question is, would we buy them again?
In a heartbeat.
I can't believe it took me so long to make the decision now that I have it.
I wasn't sure about getting one, and I thought, I know when Sharon gets one, I'm going to want to ride hers, and she will want to ride hers. And so I thought, well, I'll get one, but I may not get 100 miles on it in the first year. Wrong!
We're 6 months in. And Lena's just going to tell you that if you've watched our channel, we have, I'm going to say a good friend. I really think of her as a good friend.
I do too.
SAILA award-winning author Vicky Castell. And we have a couple of videos where we've interviewed her, but she had seen that we had e-bikes, and so...
And we're very positive about them.
And so she bought one, and her husband had said he would just ride their Trek along with her. And so they ordered one, got it, they went out riding and realized we should have ordered two. And so they had to order the second one. And it's
fun.
It is absolutely fun. And like I said, we've gone places and seen things that some of them, riding over to the dam, actually, I'm glad we did that. There's an awesome fishing place over there. And we get, next year's, we're going to have fishing license. We're going to be over there. But, a lot of it maybe is not that important, but still we're out there going and seeing things in a lot more fun way.
We had lived in our town for almost 6 months when we got the bikes. The bikes are the way we learned the town.
Oh yeah, we have learned where things were. As a matter of fact, when COVID hit and our church was going to church in a parking lot at the football stadium, and we asked, where's the football stadium? Well, we ride by there every day almost. Yeah. I mean now, but we didn't know where it was before we got the bike. So we got these thinking we were getting them so that we could ride to the Grand. When we got to the Grand Canyon, we could ride out the road that goes along the length of the canyon, etc. That trip got canceled, but God knew we needed these bikes because, yes. I mean, it has been, not only we've gotten to go and explore places we wouldn't have seen before, but it's been our mental health during when we had to shelter just at home and stuff like that. So, anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to leave comments or questions in the comments below.
Trust me, we read every single one of them, and we want to respond.
And if we get a number of new questions, we may just kind of hold all of them and answer, make a follow-up on the questions. But yeah, we are loving these bikes, and if that changes, you can guarantee we'll let you know that
we
too.
We sure will.
Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.